They are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Yes,
that.
and we are live. Hey, everybody. Well, welcome to the first day of May. And I say we have a really kind of fun business, kind of casual Friday, which is pretty cool. And what we decided to do is talk about some of our favorite apps, things that are related to productivity, entertainment, all these different things. And security. Well, it's always there, ever present. And so we thought we'd get the whole panel out today. And we got everyone involved and our very, very special guest, Mr. Michael West. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
So, this kind of got prompted because this kind of came out of a discussion around some blog posts about macOS apps, things that Mike likes to use, and kind of got us just the juices flowing, and we started doing it, and we discussed it, and so here we are. And so, I think there's so much to cover here. So what we're going to do is just dive right in and talk about. Before I dive in, I'll say thank you everyone for liking, subscribing, sending questions, sending comments. It really helps us kind of keep the content fresh and keep everyone interested. So with that in mind, let's dive right in first into productivity. Kind of work, not necessarily play. So Mike, I'm going to ask you the question. What's your favorite productivity app?
I think my favorite one is probably Alfred on my Mac.
Alfred, okay.
So it's kind of like a Spotlight replacement. I just hit a key combination. I think I use Control Space on there, and what it does, it just pops up a little window, and I can start typing to search for stuff. I usually mostly use it to just launch apps, but you can do quick little math computations in there. You can run macros, so you can have it fire off certain things. You can do web searches. It's pretty nice. I like it a lot.
Cool. That's cool, Alfred. I'll check it out. And Matt, you have quite a few on this list here. You're a very productive guy. I mean, and Alfred's brother, Franz.
Yeah, Franz is a great messaging app that supports a handful of different services. So, that comes in handy, especially right now since we're all at home. We've all got people that we're trying to keep in touch with. I've got like friends in the government who refuse to use Facebook and a lot of the other social networks, and they'll use the app or some of the other stuff. And instead of having 8 or 9 browser tabs open, I just use Franz, and this is kind of what it looks like. So right now I've got Facebook, WhatsApp, and 2 different Slack instances running all at the same time, and it's convenient. Everything's in one window. I can just kind of tuck it away if I don't want to have it up on the screen at any time. All the notifications come through the app at the same time. So it really just consolidates all those different types of messenger services into one.
Yes, that is nice. I've got plenty of people who are like WhatsApp exclusive, and then someone else who is Facebook exclusive, and I mostly use Hangouts or whatever it's going to be called now. That's actually really helpful. So I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know about that one. Now I feel like I already learned something in the first 3 minutes.
There's a similar one called Rambox that I use. I don't remember why I didn't like Franz when I was trying it.
He reminded you of me because of the mustache.
Yeah, that might have been it, I think. Probably. I was like, everybody looks like Matt on it.
Wait a minute.
And it does the same thing. I have Facebook, WhatsApp, and then with Android Messenger, I can get my text messages there too, which is useful for the 2-factor things that are left over that still send me text messages. I can copy and paste to put it in. That's
great. That's really cool. And I see, Matt, you have another one in here called MJML, which is a very long, which is kind of a strange, doesn't roll off the tongue. I tell you.
MJML is a tool that we use in the office that I found about a year ago, and it makes it really easy to do things like put together templates for email newsletters for MailChimp or Mailjet, which is the company that wrote MJML. And it really just takes a language that they wrote and transpiles it into HTML for emails so that you're not sitting here for hours and hours doing things, which is perfect because that gives me more time with Franz.
Everyone likes Franz.
This is what it looks like. So we had our collaboration month event last February, and instead of spending hours putting together a template or having a master template and working with that, I just use this tool. It's responsive, so I know it's going to look really good on a mobile phone. It works beautifully in pretty much all the major mail services, and it just makes life a lot easier, and it makes it much quicker to get things out in communications to our clients and the folks watching this right now and all the other lovely people.
Cool.
Lovely people.
Very lovely. Actually, JP, you have an interesting one on here that I've used many times in the past, and it's funny. I haven't loaded on this machine, but now I'm like, oh, why don't I have that? Which is Notepad++.
Yeah, that's part of my standard rollout whenever I'm getting a new machine. Notepad++. It's the standard Notepad application for Windows on superpowers. It lets you do. So my little trick with it is I just have a file called Notes that I have saved in my OneDrive. So whatever computer I go to, I can always open up my notes and there's all my notes and it's all saved. But with Notepad++, you can have different tabs open for different files. So I can have just different notes files, different Word files open. If you're doing any kind of scripting or stuff, like if I'm opening up PowerShell, it recognizes that it's PowerShell, or it'll recognize other languages too, and color code things that you put in and make suggestions for the like different commands that you're putting in, and give you the line numbers on the side, which is also really useful. Something is like, error in this on line 348. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to go sit and count all of that. Just look up and see it there.
I probably would have counted it, but yeah.
It's also nice that
download that right now.
Notepad++ is also very extensible. There is a plugin system for it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you can really bring a lot of different functionality to really meet whatever particular needs you have. And I guess this closest thing to it on Mac OS would probably be like Sublime Text Editor.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Very cool. And JP, I'm going to give you one more on this productivity one, then we're going to move on because there's so much to cover here. And I think it's the one that I think is that I think is such a cool tool, which is a Duet.
And this is
what does that do?
Definite shout out to Mr. Stefan Kaup for turning me on to this one. He uses it all the time, and when we started shifting from working in the office to working remote, I asked him right away, hey, what's that app you're using? So what it does, you load it onto your computer. It can be a Mac or PC, and then you load the companion app onto an iPad, or you can do it on a phone too, but iPad is better for the bigger screen, and it lets you use your iPad as another monitor. So if you've got, just the way Stefan does it too is he's got a clip that he puts it, so it's on the side of his monitor and on his laptop, and he's just got a dual monitor setup.
He looks so happy too.
Yeah,
he does it.
It doesn't work great for video, but it's perfect for email, perfect for text, perfect for chat kind of stuff, where I just need a place to put those things off to the side so I can see them when they come in, but not take up the big screen and the big monitor. And
that's actually great, because we were just talking earlier this week about if you need more equipment, do you need another laptop? Could you use an iPad? And maybe you were thinking, oh, I need another monitor, but I've got this iPad.
Yeah,
right. Exactly.
So, so we didn't mention that in the original what kind of device should I get app, but or our peripherals stream. But there are ways to work around this, and that's a good one.
That's a great one. All right, with that in mind, we're going to move on to our next segment, which is about browser extensions. Once again, there's another blog post around the browser extensions. So a lot of these are really interesting. So we're going to go back to Mr. Michael West, who's kind of started this. And what do you got in there for browser extensions, Mike?
We still have the blog post where I got 5 different ones to talk about, but the one I'm going to pick out of there is uBlock Origin. uBlock Origin, not to be confused with a similarly named uBlock. It's a great privacy and security plugin. So if you're going to websites, it will block tracking cookies. It blocks ads for you. So you can feel a little better about knowing that all of your Amazon searches aren't going to show up as ads when you go to various websites and stuff.
Right.
Like that.
No, it makes perfect sense. And Megan, I saw you have a pretty good one. What do you have in there?
I found this the other day, and I'm going to start using it. But it's called Pause. It's a Google Chrome extension. And essentially what it does when you type in and try to go to a distracting website, like maybe Facebook or something, it shows a calm green screen, and it gives you a second to decide if you really want to go to the distracting website.
Oh, I got you. So
I love that, because it's not just blocking it, but it's like someone being like, hey, is this really what you need to be doing right now? And it's gentle.
That's really cool.
Perfect. I definitely do just the automatic. I'm bored, I click the plus button. There's my most recently visited sites, and then I click it, and I'm like, I've looked at Ask a Manager's blog 5 times today. What am I doing? Like,
autopilot. So I love that it. The idea is it breaks the cycle of your relationship with technology a little. Like, so cool. Yeah.
It's very cool. It's almost like when you quit smoking, you have that pause. All right, before I light this, I'm going to stop for a second. Think about it. That's great. So Matt,
if I could only get one of those on my fridge for when I'm bored and I open it.
It's a jar of peanuts that gets me. But so Matt, you have a pretty cool one on here that I never heard of called Ghostery. What's that about?
Oh, it's very similar to tools like uBlock Origin. It's all about maintaining your privacy online. I don't think it's one that's talked about that much. Back when I was working in the publishing industry, everyone seemed to use this over everything else.
Right.
And it's really just been a plugin that I've had probably since 2014, 2013, something like that.
Very cool.
It's fantastic. The really cool thing about it is that it offers analytics showing you exactly what is being blocked. It puts it into different categories. So, if you want to maintain your privacy and you also want to know exactly what it is that you're protecting and where you're protecting it from, this is a great plugin to try.
Very cool. Very cool. And Marianne, you have an interesting one here. I've heard a lot about this one recently. We had a conversation outside of this. And what was the one? It was called Honey, right? So what's that about?
Yeah, actually, it's funny. I put this on our list to talk about, and Wes has it on his Chrome extensions list as well. So basically, it just goes on Chrome, and when you're buying something from a website, before you click submit, it tries to enter in commonly used discount codes. So if you ever on like the subway and you see something that's like, type mattress 20 to get 20% off, instead of actually needing to know that code, it goes, hey, like 3 people use mattress 20. Do you want to try it? And it pushes it through for you. So it doesn't always work, but it has worked for me in the past. I was preparing for a wedding and I bought a lot of like swatches. I'm telling you, an embarrassing amount of cloth swatches. And it actually really worked because they're always giving away free swatches, but you need the code. So I plugged that in and I got, most of my swatches for practically nothing, like just shipping. So
very cool. Great. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. And JP, I see you have your Office 365 one for Chrome. What is that about? What is that? Tell me what it does.
I guess boring compared to the others.
Yeah, seriously.
It's
but important.
It's just a quick shortcut. You log in the plugin, and then in the plugin, it's got links to all the Office 365 tools and your recent documents that you've opened. So instead of it just saves you from having to go to the Office 365 login and then click on it. If I know, like, I just want to open Word Online or I want to open this recent document, it's just right there.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just thinking, I use a lot the Ring Central browser extension, because if you're making phone calls, instead of having to like dial it, you can just right click on it and it'll automatically call for you. So if you're making a lot of phone calls, you have a lot of work to do. If you're a Ring Central user, it's great. So
I've been copying and pasting. That's a good one. I'm
going to throw that into my list for today. I promised everyone I wasn't going to get too deep into what I like, but I think that's a really great one. The Ring Central one on the screen.
TheValiantWay.com/RingCentral if you want to learn more about it.
You want to learn more? Yes. It's right there.
This stream is possessed. It did that completely on its own. I have no clue what's going on.
Maybe it's the Ghostery talking. Anyway.
That's why you need privacy.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's a great segue. Thank you, Marianne. Into some security and privacy apps that we load and things that we really like. So, I see there's a couple in here, and JP, you kind of put a lot on this list here that we're kind of walking through. So
I think the ones I was going to put in there.
Which is your favorite out of these?
Well, I'm going to say my favorite is. Oh, actually, Mike West, what's your favorite out of those?
Looking at our list, I'm going to say LastPass. I've been using LastPass probably close to 10 years at this point.
Yeah,
I'm not even sure how long they've been around, but it feels like it's been that long. It keeps all my passwords, stored. It makes it easy to put everything in. I can keep unique passwords for everything because, many years ago, I fell victim to using one password for everything. It got compromised, and I spent like 5 hours one night going around and changing all my passwords.
Yeah, exactly. And LastPass helps you with some security best practices in that. And Marianne just threw it up there. Thank you so much, Marianne, for reminding us. But it really helps. I mean,
I talk about it all the time. We do our security best practices training. And I always talk about, everyone says like, well, I'm not supposed to do this with passwords. I'm not supposed to do this. I'm not supposed to write them down or keep them in Excel. What do I do? And that's the answer, is you get a password keeper. So LastPass is one that we use, but there are a lot out there.
Yep, there's plenty.
And one of the other ones I have on the list here is KeePass, which is a password manager, but there's no cloud component to it. So if some people, if you have something that you only want to keep in a particular place, what it does is it makes like a little database file and encrypts that with one password that you give it, and then all of you store your passwords in there, and you can store other things in it too. So it's a good way to keep something confidential like that. The downside to it is that because it's not cloud-based, if you lose that file or you forget that password, you're out of luck. One of the reasons I like LastPass is that when you set it up, it goes through print out this page of recovery keys in case something happens, and nominate somebody to be your emergency contact if something happens, who can get out, and goes through a lot of ways so that there's some backdoors.
It's really, and if you share if you have a family or household, it's really useful to use the LastPass family functionality, and everyone gets a login. You can share passwords across multiple. Mike West is lost. Cutie. All right, so that's great. And last one I see, there's two more in here, JP. I think we can go pretty quick. Authy. Which, why are you a fan of Authy? I mean, versus Authy, Google or Microsoft? So the biggest,
Microsoft one is great for Office 365 because it does the push notifications for that, and that's awesome. Right. Authy I like for any of the ones that are where it's just going to give you the code, the 6 digits. The reason I like Authy is that it lets you back up and encrypt all of those keys and then install on multiple platforms. So I have on my desktop and on my phone, I have the same thing. So if I need to two-factor and log into something, I don't have to grab my phone. It's right there on my desktop. But because it's backed up and encrypted with a password, same thing. When I get a new phone, rather than having to go through and redo all of those, just re-download Authy, put in your password that you saved, and it'll download and decrypt those keys, and you're good to go.
Great, it's true. It's really powerful stuff. This is all, if you get locked out of your stuff, it's a really tough situation. But so I'm going to move on to. We got a question from our peanut gallery, our official peanut gallery, with Stefan Kalb, and it's a great question, actually. Where does the panel research for apps when comparing one to the other versus the other? Are the reviews you see in the Apple Store any good? That's a great question, Stefan. So I'm going to ask you guys, what do you guys think on that one?
I try to go around to various places. You want to check the reviews on the actual app itself. Do some quick Googling. Maybe don't take the first couple results that come up just in case they're kind of paid for.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then just ask around friends too if they've used them.
Yeah.
One of the things I like to do is search for alternatives to something and see what people say and what things come up. So if there's something that seems like it's good, I'll search and see what else are people using besides that thing, just to see what the feedback is like. And a lot of times there are people that have done good comparisons. And then
always look at the sources, because if you Google what's the best password manager and you go to, and the first result is LastPass.com, guess what they're going to say? But
right.
Or even we keep talking about how we love LastPass. Do you see a disclaimer where we're sponsored by them anywhere? No. So you can hopefully take that as a little bit of evidence. So. Although LastPass, if you want to sponsor us, give us a call. TheValiantWay.com.
We're in red.
You can also just go to alternative2.net. As Justin was saying, looking for alternatives online, you could always do a Google search, but there are actual websites that are dedicated to providing alternatives to all different pieces of software. You can go look for a piece of software for a Mac, find 5 or 6 alternatives to it that are on Windows and on the web as well. So that's a really great place to go. Alternative2.net. That's alternativeto.net. And that was not a paid advertisement.
Very good.
I will tell you what, one slightly sponsored, if you are a Valiant client or if you have an IT professional, ask them. That's part of what we do, is we do consultation. So, if you are curious about certain applications, security, privacy, productivity, feel free to shoot us a message, contact your Valiant representative. So
that was an advertisement. That was a good one.
That one was, yes.
Favorite way to do it too is when I've narrowed it down to 2, I try them both and just be like, I'm going to try one, I'm going to try the other. Which one did I like better? And if it's, especially if it's got trials or if it's free, then it's let me see. And that's pretty much. I know Matt and I were talking earlier about Franz and Rambox, and I don't remember why I chose that one, but that was the process with it. I had both of them, and for whatever reason, I liked one better than the other, so I picked it. And at the end of the day, yeah.
Sorry, I keep interrupting. I've got way too much caffeine in me today. No, it was the same exact thing. I think I started off with Rambox, and it didn't support like one of the services I wanted it to support. So then I moved over to Franz, and that's met my needs. So I've been using that for years. Same exact situation. Yeah. Sometimes you need to just battle dome these things. 2 apps, or 1 app leaves.
Well, with that in mind, let's move on to our next segment, which is about utilities. Some of our favorite utilities. And there's a bunch in here, so I'm going to kick off with Matt. Matt, you put one in here called Coconut Battery, which is a fat cocoa battery. I don't know. That's a crazy name.
Right,
what does it do, Zach? What is it?
Well, first, the quick story. The laptop that I use on a daily basis, I've had since 2013. It's something it's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot of effort to separate me from this machine. I've just done so much with it. But over the years, performance drops, you find problems, you optimize, you clean up your file system, whatever it is, but your battery eventually just dies on you. And I was running into a problem where I'd have my battery meter go down to 31% and then just shut off completely. Morning, nothing, just off. So I found Coconut Battery, and it's a utility that tells you a lot about the health of your computer and the battery. So if we look at the screenshot here, we can see that my computer was made in late 2013. But the battery that I replaced, the new battery in here, is in great shape. It's got a full charge right now, or almost a full charge. It shows that I'm still able to charge it to 100% of the design capacity. I'm sure that, the battery that I had before it failed could only probably be charged to 70% or so of its capacity. And that's why I was running out so quickly. Right. So this is just a really great tool to keep an eye on your battery. And it seems like a trivial thing, I think, in some cases. And then you're trying to do, say, a presentation to your boss in the office, and, the computer shuts down halfway, and, they think that you just, it's just like your dog ate the homework kind of moment. But the battery, I don't want to deal with that. So Coconut Battery is what I use to keep an eye on that.
Very cool. And the next one actually on this list, I've used for many times, is Handbrake.
Yeah,
super useful. That's a great application. Is that on it's cross-platform, right? I've never used that. I haven't used that on Windows in a long time because I haven't ripped a DVD in years. I remember there was a period of making DVD rips, so you could have the ones you bought and have them on your home. And I don't know if you guys are doing this in this period of making a home entertainment system.
I was doing it a few weeks ago with a box set of Kids in the Hall, and I was getting tired of I kind of just want to find a particular episode. I don't want to go sift through the disc, so I started ripping them to put them onto my computer too.
Head squish.
Yes. I want to do all the crushing your heads.
All the crushing of the heads
without switching discs.
Yes, that's great. No, it's a great application, and it's one of those ones that always makes me shake my head. Like, how do I make this for free? It's amazing. Very cool. Marianne, you have one that's really interesting here that I find fascinating, the Flux. What does that do exactly?
Oh, yeah. I was thinking when we were coming up with this idea, I was like, what do I install on a new computer every time I get one? And it's the Flux. Basically, what it does is you put in your time zone. You set up they give you a recommended schedule, or you can set it up. But at a certain point in the day, it changes from blue light to more orange light. So that's a little bit easier on your eyes for being at night. It's just nighttime mode sort of thing, but without turning everything black like your phone's night mode might do.
Right.
It just makes it a little bit oranger, a little bit easier on the eyes. And it's got it on a cycle. You can also turn it off if you want to be watching a movie or doing something where color is important. I've definitely been looking at something and been like, I don't know if I like that color dress. Oh wait, my Flux is on, and keep online shopping.
Gotcha.
But,
that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's just you set it and forget it. So I just, whenever I get a new computer, download it.
Very cool. And I think, the last one for here, I want to say is an interesting one because it's a Cocktail, which I remember that from many years ago, Matt. What exactly is that?
That was one of mine.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Check his glasses.
Heck off, Matt.
They're so close together.
It's basically sort of like a health checkup for your Mac. It runs a bunch of scripts where it goes through. It runs some disk utility first aid. It'll check for security patches. clears out some old caches and stuff. My main use, where I originally found it, is it resolves the weirdest printer problems you've ever seen. I would spend an hour or so trying to figure out a printer problem. You just run, the pilot script in Cocktail, give it, 5 minutes, it's done, and then printers just work again. It's as close to magic as I can find on a Mac.
I'll check that out. Very cool.
And on Windows, you just turn it off and on again.
Yeah. Reboot it. So, all right. With that in mind, let's see. We only have a couple minutes left. So this is the fun part of it. What are the entertainment apps? What's important? What's fun for everybody right now? I know entertainment's really important right now. We're all kind of stuck in the house at times, or not. And so I'm gonna kick it off here with Megan. Megan, what's your favorite entertainment app?
Well, if I have two, I'm just gonna really quickly talk about. My favorite is my running app. It's called Runkeeper.
Right.
And it's a wonderful app. It's how I can keep track of my progress. Before quarantine, I was training for a marathon, and then that stopped. But this app, so I haven't. So that's not a brag.
Right.
But this app is great. You can go and see your past runs, and then there's also a voice. Forgive me, but there's a voice that lets you know how far you've run, and also encourages you.
Coaching, like a coaching kind of function, right?
But you can choose. Mine is called it's like your cheerleader or something, and he goes, "I believe in you" every time.
Oh, that's so nice.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's excellent.
Yeah.
Very cool. Miriam, you've one in there. It was like the Couch to 5K, which is
in response to Megan's is I am not training for a marathon. I'm training to run ever. So I like the Couch to 5K because it is really easy. It's very simple to be just start from basics, and it starts you with more walking than running, and it just lets you know hey, start walking, hey, start running. And it's a very simple one, and it's free, and it's great. I will tell you, it did help me train for a 5K. I also used it 2 years ago when I was hiking. I did the 4-day hike to Machu Picchu. That one is a brag. But it helped me get because I had no cardio going on.
Right.
I find it really, really easy to use. And if you are a little bit fit, you can skip the first. You can choose when to do it. I actually was running out of time towards the end of my trip, so I skipped a couple of days and pushed myself a little harder. So
very cool. Awesome. And the other one that's on here, Megan, is Marco Polo. What is that? I didn't even heard of that.
You guys heard it? No? Okay. So this has been the way my friends and I have stayed in touch. The metaphor for the app is that it's like passing a beach ball around. So everyone records a video and you're part of a huge conversation. I have talked to my friends from college more in this quarantine than I have in 5 years.
Wow. Very cool.
So it's really fun, and it's a really good way to stay in touch with people, but also not have to organize a Zoom chat and always be on. It's great.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah, I use that one to talk to a bunch of friends too. It's it's like you record the video and then you send it, and then they watch it and record it back. So it's kind of like emailing videos of each other back and forth versus something like this where it's live. Yeah. So it's great for just I'm stepping up from my desk and taking a break, and I'm going to record a quick video and send it, or I'm going to watch a video that I got, and it doesn't have that that immediacy I'm going to you're getting a phone call, I'm going to stop and talk to somebody right now. So it's a really fun way to just pass messages around.
I feel like that's a great solution for the Zoom fatigue that people have been having. Yeah. You can't just go I have to go do something.
Right, yeah.
It's
perfect for
message.
That, because record a short message, send it, or record a long message and send it, and just interact with people that way.
That's really interesting. That's pretty cool, actually. And so going from outside and social, let's go to a little more private, a little quiet, a little internal. So Matt, you put a really good one on here called OpenEMU. What's that about?
Oh, that involves software piracy, so we should probably not talk about that.
Oh, sorry.
No, I mean it's fine to talk about. You do it whatever you want with it. It's
your mileage may vary.
Yeah, it's a bit of it's like a control panel for emulators on an OS 10 machine on a Mac OS computer.
Very cool.
So I think that I love retro gaming, and I think there's some discussion to be had around how valid it is to consider a game that's 40 years old or something like that to be piracy. I mean, that's part of my life, childhood, ColecoVision,
right.
Things like that. I'm not trying to play Street Fighter 4 on my PC or anything like that. If that is something that people are interested in, there are a lot of tools out there. Not a lot of them are very easy to work with. I mean, there's MAME and other things out there. But
MAME's hard.
Running that on a Mac, it's just insane. OpenEMU makes it so much easier. It manages the cores, which are really the emulators for different platforms, manages the games, kind of gives you a bit of almost like a Netflix-like interface where you've got your description, you've got your cover art. So the next time you want to go play Akari Warriors or Bubble Bobble or Cosmic Avenger, Mousetrap. Come on, guys, give me some others.
Yeah. I was going to say, you threw out the ColecoVision, and the ColecoVision Baseball was probably the single best game because it had that ColecoVision controller.
Yep.
Exactly.
Where the bases, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. The number pad, overlays.
Do they have Intellivision? Because that's where I was at.
More or less
Great games like Shark.
Tank War. I think it was one of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct me.
So,
if you want more modern games, I'll tell you the game that I'm using, the app I'm using most on my phone right now, the Mario Kart. It's free. I mean, it's paid, obviously, in-app purchases, but you can play it for free. So if you want modern, not pirated video games, I would say Mario Kart on the phone.
And cool. If you want easier than, if you don't want to set up the emulators on your machine too, archive.org has a bunch of old classic games that have become available, and they work in the browser. So you can just load up the browser, find the game, and play. That's another one where your mileage may vary. Some of them don't really work super well, but it's fun to stroll down memory lane and see what you can get away with.
I'm sorry, Mario, your emulator is on another website.
So one left here from Michael West, and then we have a comment from our from Major Potato called Goat Simulator. We'll leave that one as it is.
Yes.
we all know who that
Goat
is.
Simulator's a fun game.
Yes. Anyway.
Well, I guess the Steam app. Get that one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Goat Simulator and cat lateral damage.
So, Mike, what is Music Bee? What is that one versus Spotify or those apps?
Well, so Music Bee, I mostly use it because I still have a huge collection of music files on my computer, be it MP3s, mostly FLAC these days because I like to have the high quality stuff. It's just a really good local music player, but it also can do podcasts. You can tap into SoundCloud with it and stream stuff off of there.
That's cool.
It keeps you from having to go to a website and having just the basic controls, and you can customize this to get a lot of other stuff. You can get lyrics to start streaming through them. You can get, it'll find
really
music videos and stuff. It's pretty cool.
I'll check that out. And I think one more for internal is Marianne. I think it's a really great one. It was Inside Timer about meditation, which I think is super useful right now. So
it is super useful, and it's I'm a meditation newbie, and I'm also always super skeptical. So you can choose from a lot of different focuses, from different people speaking. There are some that are live, and there are some that have music. You can pick that stuff. It's just really easy. You can get guided meditation. You can just get one that's here's how to breathe, or you can get one that encourage you to give yourself a nice mantra. It's been very helpful for me because I have a problem. My brain's always on, so I'm not a good meditator, and it's been helpful.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, I've tried the Headspace one. It works pretty well. Actually, it's a paid-for app, but it's really useful. So, okay. With that, I think, Matt, we should close it up today. We're at 32 minutes already, almost 33.
Yeah, this has been more than a full episode of Family Matters in length, which is
I know.
I'm going to
Did I do that?
GIF into this by the time we're over with it. But George, I think it's time to talk a little bit about it next week.
So we have a slightly different format coming down for next week. We brought together some of our trusted advisors, people we're really good friends with, that we do business with, that we know, we trust, to talk about reopening New York City, how we're going to start working again, what some of the challenges we're facing, and what we're going to do. So we brought together people from the real estate, business consulting, technology, law, and accounting, and we're going to do a panel discussion around opening back the city and how it impacts us. So please join in next week on Thursday, May 7th. It's going to be live. It's open for registration. The registration will be out on social and our webpage on May 4th in the morning. and we're going to be out there just talking about it and getting started to get back to work. So I think I'm really excited about it, and I hope we dive in, people jump into it. A little slightly different format than what we're doing here. And with that in mind, our next session is going to be around something a little more technical, a little more Justin and I kind of nerd level. We're going deep
nerding
it out. Nerd Mondays.
That's the content y'all come for.
We get excited about them. We're gonna do we're talking about some enterprise storage options, how storage impacts decisions on how you workflows and operations. So dive into that. It's pretty interesting stuff if you're kind of curious about why I can buy a 4 terabyte or 30 terabyte hard drive, whatever the size it is, for $200, and why does a storage array cost this much money? So we're going to go into a little bit of the underpinnings of that and explain it.
I might join in on that one. I can tell the story about how I accidentally set a server on fire, but still had the data intact because of a RAID array.
That's great.
Very special guest. All right.
Exactly, set it on fire.
Oops. So anyway, please like and subscribe. We really appreciate everyone joining in on this. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope we get some information out of it. I know I got some cool new apps to work off of myself.
Yeah.
And please let us know if you have any things you want us to discuss or cover. We will absolutely do it. And hope to all see you and stay safe. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, everyone, joining in.
Thanks,
Bye
everybody.
now.
Bye.
Bye.